The truck cartel was an unlawful collusion between Europe's leading truck manufacturers, MAN, Volvo, Renault, Daimler Mercedes, Iveco, DAF and Scania, to fix the price of trucks, to delay the introduction of emissions reduction technologies and to pass on to their customers the price of those technologies.
Civil claims can be brought on the back of the finding of the European Court for people who've been affected by this artificial increase in price to bring civil claims.
A claim can be brought by anybody who purchased trucks over the cartel period from 1997 to 2011, or from someone who leased trucks over that time, or somebody who had a logistics requirement that they outsourced to hauliers over that time.
It could be retailers, it could be distributors, wholesalers. So anybody who uses trucks in their business.
Claimants are entitled to compensation if they purchased or leased trucks. They're entitled to the overcharge. In other words, how much more expensive it was to purchase or lease the trucks than it would have been had there not been a cartel. If you outsourced your haulage requirement, then your damages will be the price difference that you paid versus that which you would have paid had there not been a cartel. And all claimants may have a secondary claim, which is for the increased fuel consumption, given the fact that there was a delay in the introduction of emissions reduction technologies.
It won't be time consuming. There are many ways that we can use to minimise the amount of time that claimants will need to spend in extracting the data. We have a good forensic department who can come in and suck out the data from the client's computer systems, and they can minimise the time that the client and their management will need to spend on the claim. And we can assist them with producing the data that will be required, whether that's the initial data, which will only be required at a high level, or as the litigation progresses, when discovery comes, we can also assist with that and again minimise the amount of time that needs to be spent.
We're currently signing up claimants to our claimant group to bring the claim. That process is ongoing, but we have funding secured and in place already, and an excellent team involving Collier Bristow, Grant Thornton and London Economics to bring the claim on behalf of our group of claimants. Once the group reaches critical mass, which is a certain level of quantum achieved among the claimant group, we anticipate issuing proceedings very shortly after that. It's very difficult with High Court proceedings to say with exact certainty what the length of the claim and the proceedings will be, but one would hope that we could achieve a resolution of the claims on behalf of the claimants within a period of perhaps 2 to 4 years.
Some companies may not feel aggrieved because they didn't realise that the loss was accruing, and they may think, well, why would I bother to bring a claim? The fact is that they're entitled to this money because whether they knew it or not, they were deprived of it, and the manufacturers have set a budget aside to satisfy these claims. And we suggest that customers can bring a claim with us where it will cost them no money because we have litigation funding to cover their costs.
Because the price of trucks is artificially high, any leasing costs will be artificially high, any haulage costs will be artificially high. Therefore, the end users, the retailers, the wholesalers, they will have been affected by these increased costs.
In any given situation, it's going to very much depend upon the number of trucks that claimant bought and used during the relevant cartel period. We anticipate that each claimant that joins our group will have a minimum claim value in the low millions, and it could reach the multiples of 10 millions for any individual claim.
Because liability has already been proven in the European Court, it's clear that claimants have suffered a loss, even though they may think they haven't.
Each claimant needs to bear in mind that the cartel period was for a very long period of time, in excess of 14 years. That means interest has been accruing on the damages owed to the claimants throughout the whole cartel period up to today's date. So in considering the damages payable to them, it's important that claimants also bear in mind that there will be a substantial interest element to the damages owed, which in itself for the largest claimant groups could be many millions of pounds. The cost of bringing this action to the claimants is zero. That is because Vanin Capital, the organisation that I work for, are providing funding for the claim on a 100% non-recourse basis. What that means is that we will fund all of the costs of the claim for the claimants, and we will only receive a return on our investment and our investment back if there is a damages recovery from the defendants. The benefits to the claimants is that they will get the reward of the damages being achieved, which could be very substantial in the many millions of pounds without any cost, risk or burden to their organisations. The fact that there is no cost risk to the claimants makes our offering very attractive to them in circumstances where the cost, which would normally be seen as a liability to the claimants and affect their balance sheet and profit and loss account, will be taken away. That means that the claim itself can purely be seen as an asset for the claimants.
We're specifically targeting companies which had a very large haulage requirement. So they had a very large fleet of 200 trucks or more, or an equally large outsourcing requirement. We're specifically not looking to act for hauliers. We are seeking to represent companies who use trucks to move their own produce around, be they manufacturers, distributors or retailers.
One of the claimants that has already signed up with us has said to us it's a no-brainer.